10,000 people scream back at you when the band gets introduced.
That energy was so overwhelming. Like they've all been bottled up and just couldn't wait to get out.
Things are bad, but at what cost?
We've had to cancel shows.
Are we really safe?
Things are not back to normal.
We're just going to keep working as hard as we can just so we can break even.
Developing right now, the World Health Organization is concerned about a flu-like virus spreading throughout China.
We started hearing about cases in China, and then in early January, started hearing more about it, and then by mid-January, the first case in the U.S. And that's when, for me, it started to sink in. Like, we have a problem here.
But we were going out with a full band and doing playing theaters and art centers, probably about 250 to 500 people. And on occasion, we would do something like an amphitheater and sell it out, 1,500 people. But it all stopped,
This it snuck up on us, and it was a gradual continuation of a disaster, and you just kept thinking it was going to go away, and it just kept getting worse and worse and more serious until you're like, hey, no, you're not making money for a month, you're not making money 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months.
Yeah, this is pretty hard. This is very rough to be in this situation and not knowing. I mean, when this is your whole life and your occupation, and then it stops. And, you have to think about income, which is something you didn't ever worry about. I mean, you think, okay, well, I'm good. I have some emergency cash. I'll be fine. 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, a year, you go, oh, shit. Now it's frightening, It's like, okay, I'm running out.
We were supposed to be at Sweden Rock Fest, and we were supposed to be at M3, and we were supposed to be here and there. And all of a sudden we weren't. And then I could feel the effects of COVID.
It was an immediate shift into what my life would be like without the stage, which is all writing and recording and a lot of sitting in on other people's projects. That first couple of weeks where I'm kind of like constantly feeling like I should be somewhere, I should be doing something, I got to return that email, I got to call so-and-so, and then you stop and you go, no, none of those people are waiting for your email. No one's waiting for your phone call. No one's requiring your time.
What a great crowd. What a great turnout. And COVID can go fuck itself because we're coming back, baby. This is evidence.
Our first show was like surreal almost. That was the first time I had played in 17 months. I remember, the intro going and the curtain being closed and my legs shaking. I was like, wow, it's like I was like 15 again, We actually, our band, Dumpster Funk, actually did our first live show where they had these pods. They had barricaded areas for people, and you could only be in your area. You couldn't go out and mingle with friends. And the audience was a good distance away, So it made it safe, it felt safe. But it was definitely fun to play.
Hearing 10,000 people scream back at you when the band gets introduced and feeling like something that's been missing from your life, I was moved to tears. For literally the whole first 2 songs of the show, I was just crying, absolutely crying.
The night we were open is what I imagine Times Square was like at the end of World War II. Just people were so happy to see each other and so happy to be out.
This girl's rhythm. I mean, we should have some sort of rhythm off, shouldn't we? So good.
So I feel like I went from 0 to 60 really quick because suddenly we were allowed to play festivals again. I felt a little out of my element, but it came back really quickly. I think it was just a little unnerving getting back out there and traveling and being on a plane and then going and being around a lot of people at a festival. That was all just very jarring after being locked in your house all year.
When we went back to a big place, and the first, big one that I could think of, I say there was maybe 2,500 people there. This particular moment, that energy was so overwhelming. It was like they've all been bottled up and just couldn't wait to get out. And the minute that they came out, the sound, the energy, the excitement, the love that they had was overwhelming. It's almost emotional. It's very hard. Like when you first get out there, you almost feel like you want to break down because you've just been waiting for it so much, and it's been on your shoulders, on your back, and you're holding it in. It's just so humbling.
Going through the whole process of like, wow, I'm going to get back on a plane because I hadn't flown for, I guess, roughly a year and a half or something like that. Just being in front of people or being with people, or the step of actually traveling again, going through that was interesting. It was like a lot of things had been taken away, and it just felt so overwhelmingly good to get those back and realize that it's something that I'd been missing more than I even knew.
When we started performing again and we started walking into venues, there's fear, and not so much the fear of, do I still have it? Am I still able to perform? It's more like, are we really safe? Is this really okay?
Of course, it was great to get back on stage. I mean, as you can imagine, but I would say we're still in a transition. It doesn't feel, you're asking me how long it takes to get used to it, in a sense, and I kind of haven't yet. I mean, I am used to, I'm functioning with it, but it still doesn't quite feel normal.
We're having somewhat of normalcy, but it's like at what cost? A huge cost.
Of the three of us, I think I was a little less fearful, a little more adventurous. I just wanted to hug and kiss everybody, and it was only after every time, every event, every crowd, every gathering that I was like, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
I know a lot of friends who are still getting sick from COVID and are having to cancel tours and cancel shows. I'm seeing it a lot. I'm hoping a year from now, we're at the point where that's not happening and we're all kind of just like riding the wave again, and it's a little bit less risky.
We have bands that are out on the road, and all it takes is one member to get sick and they're shut down for 5 to 10 days.
We've had to cancel shows. I mean, it's part of the current normal. You just have to, you can't be thrown off by things getting canceled for COVID. You just can't.
Good morning. I have an announcement. I am so excited to tell you all that I am going on tour with my amazing band. We are hitting the road, starting the Nostalgia Tour to celebrate my new album, Goner, coming out. I've actually been struggling a bit getting my foot back in the door and getting my career rolling again, because in order for you to really get things rolling, you have to spend money on things. You have to promote yourself, market yourself.
The biggest effect that the COVID pandemic had on me and my business wasn't necessarily in booking, it was in recording and releasing albums and products and songs, and we had just signed with High Vol Music. Bill Chavis from High Vol Music was a dear friend of mine, and in August of 2021, Bill Chavis passed away from COVID-19, and I still have that last text message pulled up from Bill. Said, "Hey Chief, I'm checking in on you, praying for you. Let us know how you're doing." He goes, "Thank you, Ron. I'm in bad shape. I don't know if I'm coming back from this. It's really bad." And I just told him to stay positive, and he died. Not only did he pass away, but his wife, Lori, who was his partner in the business, Bill and Lori both passed away in August of COVID-19.
So I've still been doing, 3-4 gigs a week. So as kind of nervous as I was to go out there and do that, I got double vaccinated and tried to be as conscious of this thing as possible. I came home one night from a gig and I felt really odd. And the sensation I was feeling was like someone was squeezing my head really hard, and it wasn't a headache. My chest started feeling really like someone had scratched the inside of my lungs. And I knew I had COVID, man. Day 2, I'm under the sheets and I'm just pouring sweat. But by day 9, I was terrified. I didn't see an end to it, and it wasn't getting better. In fact, it was getting worse. I threw everything at it, like everything. I really have to think about my son. He's 10 years old. He needs his daddy, so I don't want to screw up, pardon me, I'm getting emotional, man. I don't want to screw up, man. I love my family so much, this really scared me, man.
It's affected me personally because it killed my wife. My wife was very healthy, and it took her out 8 days. So to me, I have a very different outlook on it. I feel like it's just this plague that's kind of a curse. So it's like, I hate that word. I hate it. I hate it with what it's about, what it's done to our world. It's affected me very personally. So I get triggered even when I see that word.
I mean, we all have these little security blankets that we hold on to. And it's actually kind of healthy to realize that you have to be a little more self-sufficient than that. You can't just depend on those things. And that can be a tough lesson. I admit it's been a bit tough realizing just how unstable things can become so quickly. Just keep it all in perspective, because at the end of the day, it will all disappear.
Being a musician, I can't afford to get this stuff, dude. It's tight out there, man. I got to work my ass off to make a living at this. I always have. I've been playing live since I was 13 years old. I'm 50. I haven't stopped. I haven't even had a fucking vacation in 10 years. I love to play. I'm a maniac for music. I can't stop doing it.
Thanks for coming tonight. We want to ask you all to do a couple things because we want to make this safe for everybody.
For a while, our biggest problem was finding touring entertainers who were willing to tour again. Even after we could be open, starting in December of 2020, it was months before there were large numbers of performers who were on the road again.
I have bands that were supposed to go out in March of 2020, whose merch sat here for almost 2 years. By the time they could go back out, they were in debt, because they had lost so much money. So I have merch that I paid for in March of 2020 that I'm still not paid for. But I'll put it to you this way. In the before time, if I ordered blank shirts at 4 o'clock on a Monday, I would have them in my warehouse by Tuesday at 10 a.m. So I could do just-in-time orders with relative ease, very few headaches. Now, if I order at 4 o'clock Monday, I'm lucky if I have it here the following Monday in some cases. And there's no predictability. 1 week there's a ton of stock on a style shirt, then the next week it's gone.
Let me see those hands. You love your freedom. Let me see everybody's hands. You love your freedom.
Exponentially traveling. Expenses are absolutely astronomical right now, especially on planes for all the bands. And the fans flying to different shows to see all their favorite bands. Also, gasoline prices astronomical. Buses cost about $1,000 a day. And that's a cheap bus, by the way. And then for a driver, they want $300 a day, the drivers, and understandably so. And then fuel's another $500 a day. You're almost at $2,000 after a hotel. You're about $2,000 a day to have a tour bus. That's the wave of the future right now. Until things turn around, we're going to have to deal with this uphill struggle of prices and inflation.
Hey, we're the Rock Hill Band, and we are Road Ready. We'll see you tonight at the Inky Nickel in Sioux City, Iowa. Let's hit the road, boys.
I try and find the good in everything, and what we are now as opposed to what we were 2 years ago before the pandemic. It's still there are still new challenges to face. Now that we're able to tour again, literally the price of fuel and airfare is almost as debilitating as the pandemic was, because we can't do a lot of the shows we'd like to do. We can't go to a lot of the places that we wanted to go to. We had the Canadian tour confirmed and scheduled in August of 2020. Of course, that couldn't happen, and now we're still trying to reschedule the Canadian tour just so we can break even and get up to Canada for the first time in decades and entertain our fans up there.
The touring in the event business is so much bigger than just the band and the venue and the merch sales and all that. It's an industry that feeds a lot of other things, and without it, other businesses are suffering, and it's not just us. And when that venue doesn't have events, those businesses don't survive. So if that restaurant across the street from an arena doesn't have as many shows as it had in the past, it can't make its rent. It can't do, it can't keep people coming in. It needs those people coming in. The only way a band can really make sure that their tour happens is by having like a monk-like existence. You get off the vehicle, you go onto the stage, you leave the stage, you get back in the vehicle and go back to your hotel room. And that's a really tough life to lead, because musicians tend to be, everybody in this industry likes to hang out. That's part of the fun of this.
Only third show so far, so you're witnessing the beginnings, the origins of Crashing Wayward. So thank you all.
I think it's a different outlook, because there got a time I'm like, it's like, is music ever going to come back? There was a scary lull there for a while, for months.
Are you guys ready to go and have some fun with me right now?
It taught me, unfortunately, that even though you think people will change, because they have been given the biggest lesson they will ever have in their whole lives. Unfortunately, some people, after watching all the negativity and the hurt and the pain of losing people and being so disconnected with the real world, they had a reality of it, and they can make a decision on choosing to change themselves, and they stay the same. And if you don't take the time to do so now, then when are you going to change yourself? I think that life is all about having purpose. And when you have a purpose in something that you're working on, it just comes out different. It sounds different, it feels different, and it comes over differently.
Just not taking anything for granted. I think even the chances that I was afraid to take, the risks that I thought too hard about. I don't have that fear anymore. I always had the right mindset when I wanted to live out loud, and I'm not done yet.
You can't count on anything. You got to be prepared for anything, and you got to be able to roll with anything, and not let it bring you down.
Our best bet is to go out there and play shows like the old days. Do gigs, just meet the fans, sell some merchandise, wash, rinse, repeat, because we have no choice. We have to work.
Into a room with 1,000 other people and everybody singing your favorite song at the top of your lungs. It's like a religious experience, and nothing can change that.
The longer we live, the more we lose. This might be your last song. Play it like you mean it. Play it like it's all you've got.